Do you want to play the most popular role in the game? The role that's not defined by whether you're better than your opponent, but by which of you simply deals more damage in a full combo? Do you want to play the role where everyone will ignore every single one of your pings because for some reason they don't understand that as Malzahar I have a lot less pushing power than a Hui because his QE just kills all my voidlings, meaning I'm under tower while he's roaming, and even though I ping where he's going and type that he's roaming, my teammates still die and then somehow it's my fault? Well, do I have the right role for you? Look, my outlook on mid lane might be a little jaded compared to the other roles because compared to every other role, it's probably the one that I've played the least over these almost 9 years that I've played League of Legends. God, I'm wasting my life. Existential crisis about me getting older aside, and mid lane is the role that's filled with the most amount of dumb, overpowered, toxically designed champions that make your game feel terrible regardless of how well they're doing. Zoe lands a single bubble, guess half your health is gone now. Hui having a spell that's good for literally any situation, making him more versatile than any other champion? Nah, that's perfectly balanced and not at all a terrible design. Katarina builds literally any item in the game and presses her face against the keyboard. Doesn't matter, you're still dead because Riot still somehow falls for the trap of giving characters multiple damage scalings and resets. I mean, just take a look at the champions that are played in this role and tell me a single one which doesn't feel obnoxious to play against. Combine that obnoxious champ pool with the fact that due to the position of mid lane on the map allowing for probably the second best roaming potential, and you're left with a role where you'll find more deranged lunatics than your average Dante stream. Welcome to a terrible guide to League of Legends.
Welcome to Summer's Rift.
Mid lane is by far the most popular role in the entire game, and due to being the most popular role, it's no surprise that a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on this role and how to play it. However, I'm here to smartly inform you that all those people are stupid, and I'm here to give you the real information about this role, like those YouTube videos that are made with the thickest Indian accent you can even think of, but still somehow make more sense than what your professor said in class. So listen to me very closely when I say this. Very closely. This role is fucking bullshit. Oh, wait. It's 2024. I need to explain this in brain rot terms while the Vine Boom plays. This role has a level 0 Gyat. It has no Riz. It cannot looks max to save its life. Baby Gronk cries from this role. I swear, the only thing that matters in this role is whether or not you have more damage and can tank more damage than your opponent. Doesn't matter what one of the 50 billion obnoxious champions you play, doesn't matter how many of your skill shots you land, doesn't even matter if you roam well or not. If your champion doesn't just do more damage by virtue of being your champion and not by virtue of building well, hitting your skill shots, or playing well, then you're just going to lose. I mean, just take a look at a champ like Akali. She just runs at you, presses Shroud so you can't fight back or use any point and click abilities, and just murders you because that's just what she does. And since I'm already on the subject of it, let's talk about the champions in this role. In mid lane, you generally have two main types of champions, assassins and mages. Sometimes you get the dreadful marksman player that makes you want to paint your ceiling red, but for the most part, those are the two that you'll be seeing the most of. And just based off the most played types of champions, I hope that you, the viewer, are smart enough to see how this ends up being such an obnoxiously dumb role to play. Assassins and mages, but especially assassins, have a general goal in their design philosophy where they want to maximize damage output while putting utility either fairly low or as low as possible. But this is League of Legends, the game where Riot constantly bends over their IP without a safe word and makes it pop out the most abhorrent thing possible that make every other champion beforehand look like it came out for the NES. Every mid laner now needs as much damage and as much utility as possible because if they don't have that, then there's no reason to even play them, and the older champions that normally wouldn't be able to compete are just buffed up to make them viable comparatively. In addition, I would personally say that mid lane is a lane where balance means the least, because champions in this role can have abhorrent win rates that would make them unplayable in any other role, but in mid lane, it just means that they're balanced because the champions played here have some of the craziest amounts of impact. Impact is a pretty simple term to understand, and I'll explain it in both a definition and give you an example. In its simplest form, impact is the influence that any given character has on a game in relation to the outcome of said game. This can range from the piss-poor impact champions like Sivir, Galio, or Shen, which can all be good characters but have the need to either rely on or empower their teammates, or else they're not going to do what they set out to do effectively, to the diabolical diabolical impact champions like Yasuo, Akali, or Lee Sin, which aren't very team reliant and allows them to get away with insanely bad win rates while still being balanced due to their solo carry potential. To give an example, a 10-0 Yasuo is going to have a much higher amount of impact on how the game turns out than a 10-0 Maokai. If Maokai plays perfectly, it'll still be annoying to deal with, don't get me wrong, but if a Yasuo player plays perfectly, he's deciding how that game ends. And going back to what I said earlier, taking a look at the mid lane roster, you see champions like this all over the place. Some of the highest impact champions, and I'm choosing my words very carefully because I know I'm going to get comments from some people being like, actually, jungle is the highest impact role in the game, not mid lane. And I'll get to point them to this exact timestamp to show them that I was talking about champions. I truly am jaded about this role. Some of the highest impact champions in the game exist in this role, and this is what causes the feeling of mid lane not mattering when it comes to skill, but mattering when it comes to champion pick. And due to mid lane's relative position on the map, you have the ability to move around to the side lanes fairly easily to have your impact influence the map, and if your jungler comes to your lane, it honestly helps so much more than either of the two side lanes because it frees you up to roam. Hell, you could just follow your jungler around the map like a lost puppy for the whole game, and it'll work because you're taking a role with high impact and pairing it up with a champion that has high impact, and it effectively makes you the highest impact threat in the entire game. However, the inverse of all of what I just said is true as well. With where mid lane is positioned, the role is the most susceptible to ganks from every other lane. Just get out of my lane. Get out of my lane. Why are you here? Get out of my lane! And because of the champion design and the impact of the champions in this role, every single little advantage means just that much more in mid lane. Shoving in the wave a little faster to get a roam off, being able to CS slightly better, being able to poke slightly better, being able to position slightly better, all of these things mean so much more here because your champion pool is able to consistently convert small advantages into bigger payoffs than other roles. And all of this, again, is based on your champion pick. I really cannot stress enough how much the champion that you pick feels like it matters so much more in this role than any of the other roles. However, that doesn't mean that you should just pick whatever flavor of the month character is powerful right now and then epically fail when you realize you don't have the hands to play them, because champions in this role are oftentimes some of the hardest in the game. But do find a character that you feel good on and does have high impact, or you'll be feeling terrible as the enemy mid laner just dogs on you. And yes, because I know people are going to comment on it, the matchups do matter, because while sometimes you can be incredibly high impact for certain matchups, you can also be incredibly low impact for others. But by picking a higher impact champion that you feel comfortable on, it makes it so those low impact matchups are fewer and far between. I mean, there's a reason that the O10 power spike is such a prevalent meme for Yasuo and Yone. Of course, you should also know that the biggest consequence of playing this role is that because of its popularity, there's bound to be some streamer out there that you'll be called a fanboy of regardless of what champion you play. Ari, legit Korea fanboy. Vel'Koz, a Zap fanboy. Yasuo, one of the 50 billion Yasuo OTP streamers fanboy. Just want to play mid lane? Faker, Nemesis, Caps, Bjergsen, Jensen, whatever mid laner you want, fanboy. Also, if you really want to, you can just play like a rat bastard. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I have played against a melee character that has gone fleet footwork with Resolve secondary and Doran's shield, and you just can't damage them at all.